Hi, in this video I'll be doing something slightly different to some of my normal videos where I just talk about an individual product. What I want to do is to compare two of the popular Dyson models. Now, a common question we get asked is what are the differences between all of the Dyson models, and I have covered some of the differences, but what I wanted to do was to cover two of the absolute models. So first of all, we've got the V7 Absolute, which we do very well with, and one that's quite new to the market, which is the V15 Detect Absolute. So what I want to do is compare, so show you some of the differences that they offer, and is it worth the extra money to go up to the V15? Just before I start, all I'd normally say is please subscribe to my YouTube channel, just give us a quick thumbs up. What I do is I talk about household appliances. I do specialise in cordless vacuum cleaners like these, and there's normally a bit of tech in there as well. So just give us a quick subscribe, then we'll make a start. Now you might be wondering why I've picked these two models. I suppose first of all because they're both the absolute models, so they both come with the fluffy floor heads. That's something that's quite interesting that I'll talk about in a bit, but also because of the price on them. Now I know the prices do vary, and I very rarely talk about prices in my videos because they do vary quite a bit, but at this time of recording the V7 Absolute is selling for around £300 and the V15 is selling for around £600, so double the amount. So that just makes it a little bit more interesting. I suppose what I really want to justify is it worth spending the extra £300? In other words, you could get two of the V7s for the price of one of the V15s. So the first thing to talk about is the runtime of the vacuum, and this is the amount of time that you can use and operate the vacuum before you need to go and recharge it. On the V7 you're looking around 30 minutes, and on the V15 you're looking around 60 minutes, so it is double the runtime. I suppose with the V7 the way it operates is quite simple, and when we talk about runtime the main thing to consider is it can vary depending on the floor surface you're on, also the tools that you're using as to how long you get to use the vacuum, and clearly the option that you select here. So on the V7 you've got a high and a low setting. I'll just show you that. So clearly if you're going to use it on the high setting then you're not going to obtain the full 30 minutes runtime. On the V15 this is slightly different. Well, it's not slightly different, it's very different. What you'll find is that they've come up with a really nice looking LED screen at the back here. I do need to recharge this, and what you'll find is that the runtime is shown on the display itself, and if you press the button here, so you've got different settings. So the auto setting, then you've got the boost at the end. So if I press that, so you've got eco, and I'll just give you a demonstration of this. So that was showing at the moment that you're looking around 26 minutes. Then as we go to the boost setting, so this will be a much higher suction setting. You look around 4 minutes. So it does make a huge difference depending on the suction setting that you set it on, depends on the runtime of the vacuum. The next thing to look at is the bin capacity and how easy are the bins to empty. On the V7, the bin capacity on this has a maximum capacity of 0.54 litres. And on the V15 it's 0.76 litres. So it is, well, as you can see here, it is visibly a bigger bin, and basically what that means is that you can vacuum for longer before you have to empty the bin, because I suppose if you are vacuuming quite a dirty area, there's nothing more annoying than having to stop, empty the bin, and then to carry on. When it comes to emptying the bins on these models, let me just take that off. Just makes life a little bit easier. So on the V7 you have a handle on top, and all you normally do is go over to a bin. It's normally something outside I'd recommend, so pull that, and as you can see here these models are used in our showroom. We've got a couple of showrooms. We've got one in Leicester and one in Warwickshire, and with all cordless vacuums I'm quite proud that we have them all charged up, apart from the V15. I do need to get that charged up. But you can come in, you can have a go, just compare all the models. But what I was getting at is on both these models you have got some dirt in the bin, but when it comes to putting that back together, that just goes in like that, so that's nice and easy to do. When you get to the V15, completely different concept. They've changed this as you went to the V10, V11 and V15 all have a similar bin, I suppose the way attempt is. And what you do is you push this handle down like that, and that opens, and then you again do it outside. What you don't want to do is to go and empty, especially this size bin because it's a much bigger capacity, inside, because you can find if you get all the dust and dirt coming back up at you, especially if you suffer with things like allergies, then that could be quite a big issue if you're doing it inside. Talking about allergies, as far as the filtration on these, you have got the filter on the back on this one. So on the V15, it is washable. You've got the picture of the tap on the top here, so that's easily, I suppose, easy to maintain. And when it comes to the V7, you've got a couple of filters. So you've got one here just in the middle, and then you've got the one on the back here. That's one of the differences between the V7 Animal and the Absolute, that you do get the extra filter on the back. Now, filtration is very important. I'd always recommend, when you first buy any of the vacuum cleaners, not just Dyson, I'd always recommend when you buy a cordless vacuum cleaner, buy a spare filter at the same time. And the main reason for that is if you are going to wash the filter, so if you're going to wash these, ideally you need to leave them for 24 hours before they dry. And what you want to do is, a lot of people will want to carry on vacuuming before it's completely dry, and you might be tempted to pop it back in, and if you do when it's still damp, then you could damage the vacuum and that wouldn't be covered under the warranty. So that's why I'd recommend going buying a spare filter. They're not too much. I'll post a couple of links below to some that are pretty good prices. What you'll find is that you take these out, give them a good wash, let them dry naturally, and then what you can do is you can pop your other filters in and you can carry on vacuuming. When it comes to cleaning and maintaining the vacuums, I won't go into too much detail about it, but on both the models you can take the bins off. So I'll just show you that quickly. So on the V7, all you need to do is take that off, so you've got that main unit, and then to take the bin off, all you need to do is to loosen that. You can take that off, and I'd normally recommend just giving it a good wipe inside there with a damp microfiber cloth. I have done some other videos where I do show the full stripping down of the vacuums. They've tended to go down quite well, especially if you've got pulsing on any of the vacuums. If you've had Dyson before, and if you've got the pulsing where it's struggling a little bit, then some of my videos are very good at showing you how to alleviate that. And when it comes to putting that back together, that's nice and easy. On the V15, again, it is slightly different. So once you've opened the bin there, you've got a little latch underneath here. So all you do is you press that and then the whole bin can come off. So it's similar concept, just give it a wipe around with a damp microfiber cloth. And especially around the seals here, you've got the rubber seals and at the bottom, because you want to make sure that they are free of any debris or rubbish. Because what you can find is if you do have any little particles in there, if the lid isn't shut properly, then you can find that you can lose quite a bit of suction that way. But all you do is you just push that back up and then you're ready to go. The next thing to look at is the weight of the vacuums. What you can find is that some customers, the priority isn't so much the run time and the tools and things it comes with, it's the weight of it. Because if you're elderly and if you suffer with your hands, for example if you've got arthritis, then the weight of the vacuum cleaner could be the #1 priority to look at. So for the V15 you're looking around 3 kilograms, and that's including the main floor head and the main wand as well. And for the V7 you're looking around 2.2, 2.3 kilograms. So it is a little bit lighter. When it comes to just the handheld unit, I can feel, and clearly it's a bigger unit, but I can feel that the V15 is heavier. So I just wanted to weigh this on its own, just to see what it is. And that's 2 kilograms. So that's 2 kilograms dead on. And the V7, you're looking about 1450. So clearly there is a weight difference between the two. I suppose what you need to decide if you're looking at one of these two is that important enough to be a factor? On either of the vacuums you can use it as a handheld vacuum. And that's really useful for doing things like your car or your stairs. and you'll find that both models come with a good range of tools and accessories. So I just wanted to show you first of all the way that they fit in. It's exactly the same on both machines, so it uses this, the QR or quick release system. That's the red button, you just press that in, and some of the tools you can use between the vacuums. So for some people, quite a common question is, I've got, for example, a V7 at the moment, I'm looking at buying a V15, can I use the tools from a V7 on my V15? And the answer is yes. So what I do is I just show you the tools and accessories that they come with. So both models come with this. This is the combination tool. This is a brush, so it's quite a soft brush around here, and then when you press that button then that disappears, and then you've got a little upholstery tool at the end. This is one of the main tools that Dyson provide with, I'd say, almost all of their vacuum cleaners, or the cordless ones anyway. The next one, this is something that both models come with. This is the crevice tool. Again, it's exactly the same tool. That's really good if you want to get down, say, the side of a sofa or down the side of a car seat. That's quite a strong tool. They used to do a flexible crevice tool. It's something that Dyson used to do probably a couple of years ago. And the idea was that the flexible crevice tool, as it says, it could flex. So the idea is if you're going around corners, then it was a good idea. Unfortunately, what they didn't really think about is when you bend it, you are narrowing the channel of air. So clearly when you bend it, if you bend it too far, then there's no air travel through it. And that it's one that they don't really use now, but the standard crevice tool still comes with them. The next one to look at is this, the soft dusting brush. That's on both models as well, both the V7 and the V15. That's really good if you wanted to vacuum, say, on a keyboard or around a hob in a kitchen where you don't want to scratch it. So that's really soft bristles on there. The next one to look at is this. So on the V7, this is something called the turbo brush or mini turbine head. They've called it different things over the years. This is a rotating brush. I'll just quickly show you this, so that when you put it in the vacuum, get it going, and you'll see the brush start to rotate at the end. That's normally a really good option for things like stairs, or if you've got animals, or if you've got hairy members of your family that they've got hair all over the place, then something like this can be a really good option. The main downside with this tool is that if you have got say hairy members of your family or animals that molt, then you can get hair wrapped around the brush roller in the middle. You can take it apart, so if you pop a coin in the side, a coin's normally recommended compared to a screwdriver, because you can mangle the head up with a screwdriver, as I've done in the past. But what Dyson have done is they've realised that that is a problem, and they've come up with this. So it's this one, and this comes with the V15. And this is called the hair screw tool. And although it looks very similar, and the operation of it can be used exactly the same as the mini motorised head on the V7, but the main difference is it got something on here. I don't know if you can read that. So it says anti-tangle screw. And the idea is that for if you've got hair that would normally get wrapped around it, then in theory it doesn't get wrapped around it. I have tried it in a demonstration I've done, and it works. It is really good. I'll just quickly show you that. Just show you it in action. So you can certainly hear when it's in operation. Just while I'm on the subject of that, you can just listen to this. Now you hear the little boing at the end. I have loads of people asking me, is that correct? And it is. I'll be completely honest, I'm not sure why it makes that sound, but a lot of these vacuums make that sound, and yes, it is normal. So as far as the basic tools, they're the main ones that both of the vacuums arrive with, so they are very similar. The V7 actually comes with this as well, and the V15 doesn't, which I am quite surprised at. But what you'll find, that this is something called a reach under tool, and the idea is that if you vacuum in, for example, under a bed or under a sofa, rather than having to bend down, then what you can do is if you just pop this on, so just show you on here, so if you put that on there and then you've got the main one after this, all you do is you press this yellow button and then you can alter that, and it just means you don't have to bend down so far. That's something that Dyson have put in these vacuums for about 2 or 3 years now, and on the whole it goes down really well with customers. When it comes to the main floor heads of the vacuums, you do get 2 each. The first one is this, so this is with the V7, this is called the direct drive head. That's quite a popular one. A lot of the cordless vacuums that Dyson offer come with this, the direct drive. It is a good, really universal one, so whether you've got things like carpets, hard floor, tiles, it doesn't really matter. That one is a really good one to use. And on the V15, then you get this. This is the torque drive head, and this is almost an enhanced version of the direct drive head. You will find that the bristles are slightly longer on there. As far as the overall size of them, they are the same. So I'll just show you that. So there's not an advantage that one is wider than another. On some of the older Dyson vacuums, you did find that as you upgraded to some of the better models, the floor head was a little bit wider. And I suppose the main advantage of that is that you would have to be vacuuming for less time because you're covering a larger surface area quicker. But as I say, they're the same size. You have got this button on the front here, and what that can do, if I just pop this, pull that to the side, and what you can do is you can actually, if you've got large particles that you need to vacuum up, then if you just move that along to the side, and then what you'll find is that the suction will be better if you can try and keep that down. But if you've got large particles, things like breakfast cereal, then that's something to enable you to vacuum those up. And the second floor tools that both of the models come with are these. So on the V7 it comes with this. This is the fluffy floor head. This is quite a popular one that a lot of the Absolute models come with. I suppose the whole concept of the fluffy is they're really designed for hard floors. So if you've got things like laminate, wooden floor, tiles, vinyl flooring, there's a whole range of hard floors that you can vacuum in these on. But what you'll find is that the pickability is normally a bit better if you use a fluffy floor head. Now this one is a really interesting tool. I won't go into it too much. This is the slim laser fluffy tool that arrives with the V15 model. And what you'll find is that, as I say, this has got the laser on the front. And the whole concept of the laser is that it enables you to see where the dirt is. There's nothing worse than going into a room and finding that you don't need to vacuum, but I suppose sometimes you don't really know that. And the idea of the laser, and have a look at some of the other videos. I have done a couple of demonstrations of it, so I wasn't going to show you it now, but you have got an option on the front here to switch it on and off if you want to. But what it will do is, first of all, it will shine a green laser on the floor. It is really good. It's something that there's quite a few Dyson videos around. There's a lot around the internet that shows you how this works. But what it will do is it combines the laser, and when you've got that, make sure, well, first of all, make sure it's switched on. You've got something called a piezo sensor actually in the vacuum itself, and what it will do is it will tell you the particle sizes that it's sucking up. Just quickly, hopefully I might be able to show you on here. So that's the display, and what it will do is it just shows you, so it's got it split down into the size of the particles, and when you finish vacuuming it will show you on the display the particle sizes that you're vacuuming. But when you combine that technology with the piezo sensor that's got built in and the laser within the fluffy floor head, and you can decide whether that's something extra worth paying for. When it comes to charging and storage, both models do clearly come with a charger, because being a cordless vacuum you're going to need to charge it at some point. They also come with a wall bracket. This is the V7 wall bracket. It is a different design to the V15 wall bracket. So whereas on the V7 what happens is that you put that within the top, so that sits in there like that, and then to release it you push it up and then that pulls off like that. On the V15 the bracket is slightly different. You just drop it in at the top. So if anything, on the V15 the wall bracket is a better design. On both of them you have got tool storage, so you can store a couple of tools at the bottom. So what I want to do now is just give you a quick demonstration and a comparison of the two. The first comparison is some sawdust on the floor. There's an even amount of sawdust, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use both of the direct drive and the high torque head, because the performance should be a lot better on this very short pile carpet. I will also be using it on maximum suction for both models, just to make sure it's fair. So let's get them going. So not a huge difference between the two. I must say that the V7 has left a little bit of residue here. I should have pointed out actually, first of all, that I've got the V7 on this side and then the V15 this side. So hopefully you can see after just one pass that the V15, in my opinion, is a little bit better. So for the next test, I'm going to be vacuuming up some porridge oats. The reason I've picked these two, sawdust and porridge oats, is that on this carpet they can be really difficult to suck up. I've done quite a few demonstrations over the years with different cordless vacuums, and these two seem to be two that they do normally struggle with. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on with the porridge oats. But as I say, we've got the V15 just here and then the V7 just here. So let's have a go. Now after just one pass, again, I wouldn't say there's a huge amount in it, but the V15 has, I'd say, got more up. If I just go over that again. So after two passes, I'd say it's got almost all of it up. But again, I'd have to say that the V15 has had the slight advantage there. So clearly the suction on the V15 is a bit better than on the V7. But I suppose overall what you need to decide is it worth spending twice as much to get the V15 compared to the V7. Now I hope you've enjoyed this video. What I wanted to do was to go through some of the differences, just really cover things like the runtime, whereas you've got 60 minutes compared to 30 minutes. The weight, I suppose for some people, you know, it does way more, the V15 compared to the V7, and I suppose what you need to decide is that acceptable. Some people will go, well no, I'm going to go for the V7 instead. Something else to think about, things like the tools and accessories that it comes with. To be fair, both models have very similar accessories, which I'm pleased to say. As far as the things like the hair screw tool that the V15 comes with, that could be really good if you've got animals or hairy members of your family. But I hope you enjoyed this quick video on the comparison between the V15 and the V7 Absolute. Please give us a thumbs up on my YouTube video, click subscribe and leave any comments below. I'd always ask for comments, whether it's good or bad, about the video itself. I know there might have been extra things I could have done to compare the two, but I just wanted to give you a brief overview as to what the differences were. Anyway, thanks for watching.